In this movie, we will animate our logo forwards, use motion paths and eases, and add motion blur. I've already imported my logo design Illustrator file, and I've set all of my anchor points. I also turned on the starburst or continuously rasterize switch. Now I want to go to 1 second in time and set my initial keyframes, which I do by swiveling open the transform properties and click dragging on all the stopwatches. I'm going to shuffle the letters of my logo design right here. So I click on the time code, type in 300, and now I'm going to shuffle my letters. So they're going to switch places. It's going to be kind of like a mirror image. Being careful not to grab the edge like I just did. And I can watch this by setting the end of my work area here and pressing 0 on the number pad. Not too bad, but it seems a little slow. So I'm going to take these keyframes here and move them up earlier. I'm going to move everything to 2 seconds. So the whole animation will happen in 1 second. It'll be twice as fast. So I draw a box around all my keyframes, start them sliding, hold down Shift, and snap. Much better. I'm going to increase my scale to 250%. Looks like we have a straggler, so I'm going to click drag him away. Well, that's kind of interesting. But I think this could be even better if I staggered how the letters are coming off in time. We just saw that the animation could go faster by having the keyframes closer together. Now I'm going to have things happen later than each other. So the letter O is going to exit first. That last O in logo is going to exit first, followed by the letter G. So about every 10 frames we're going to see something moving. So I'm just drawing a box around my keyframes, and I shift page down to go 10 frames at a time. And let's see how this looks. That looks a little better. I'm going to do the same thing with the letters in the word design. So I'll draw a box around everybody except for that first set, and they're going to move every 5 frames. So I press page down 5 times. That takes me 5 frames at a time. And now we have our letters going off sequentially. Now let's try having some of the letters travel along a bit of an arc. I'm going to do this with just the letters O, just the letter O. So the easiest way to accomplish this is to wait until the letter is a little bit past that first keyframe, and then we see this little box, right? That little box is a keyframe, and when I click on it, it highlights in the timeline. These little dots in between, as we can see if we select the magnifying glass and zoom in right here, the little dots are in between frames. So if I take my black arrow tool and hold down Command Option on Mac or Control Alt on PC, I get this little caret, and that gives me the ability to create an arc out of that. It lets me pull a handle out of the keyframe. Likewise on this side, click drag, and now I have a handle. If I zoom out, I see that my letter O is traveling on a bit of a path. I can do the same thing with the other O. So I select this O, I move the current time marker until that O is a little bit past the keyframe. Command Option click drag on Mac or Control Alt click drag on PC to get my handles, and then I can adjust these handles any way I like. And I press 0 to see my preview. Now, what if I wanted something to start slow and speed up over time? Right now everything's moving kind of in a uniform way, which I'm not too crazy about. So in order to start things off slowly, I can select those keyframes that I want to have as my slow at first keyframes, then go to Animation Keyframe Assistant and select Easy Ease. And my dots got closer together, meaning that movement will be slower to begin with. To add motion blur, first you must select all your layers with a Command or Control A, then click on the small bouncy ball column, and then the large bouncy ball here. This enables motion blur. You see that? I paused it in the middle of the movement. This adds to the realism, or believability rather, of our animation because it mimics what happens in real life. When we film a moving object and pause on a frame, we'll see these sort of smear frames that are happening, and it makes the movement look so much more smooth. In the upcoming movies, you'll learn about using effects and animation presets, as well as how to pre-compose. But I encourage you to play with the logo file to get used to animating a layered image and to familiarize yourself with how keyframes work. Animating the logo file will also allow you to get used to the handles for motion paths and the use of motion blur.